Brave Podcast Network.
Sick of being stuck and uninspired and living in fear? Yeah, me too. That's why I created the Get Your Brave On podcast, because I was looking for something that wasn't a push alert on my phone or a negative news story to start my day. Get Your Brave On is a podcast you can listen to while you're getting ready in the morning, brushing your teeth or putting your makeup on or getting your cardio in. Get exactly the motivation and inspiration you need to silence fear and do one brave thing a day. Make sure that you follow so you don't miss an episode. We start the week off with a topic, an inspiration. Then the next episode is a prayer about that. The third episode of the week, a faith-based meditation. The rest of the week includes stories from listeners just like you on how you're facing fear and getting your brave on. Share yours at 530-4AMANDA. And I bring you experts to give you advice on how to silence fear when it comes to your faith, family, finances, fitness, and we even get to have some fun. Don't miss an episode. Sign up at getyourbraveon.info and I'll send you my free Brave Life Planner. Another thing you can start your day with instead of negative news. It is a specific plan to boot up your bravery and set your mind on the right things, the good things, and then a daily planner to help you choose one brave thing a day. If you use this every day for 30 days, that's 30 brave things you've done in a month. Just think of how brave you will be by the end of the year. 365% more brave. Sign up at getyourbraveon.info and make sure you follow the podcast. So glad you're here.
Brave Podcast Network.
What does feeling stuck in life actually mean? The 3 signs that it's time to start something new right now. Hey, it's Amanda Carroll, host of the Get Your Brave On podcast. I'm so glad you're here for episode number 52. What do you do when you just feel so stuck in life? Maybe you're in a dead-end job or you're super unhappy in it. Maybe you're in a relationship that's going nowhere and you can't find joy. You don't know what it feels like to be content anymore, and you're ready to throw your hands up and say, I quit. Maybe that's exactly what you should do. Pretty much what I just did. Let me explain. I couldn't wait to record this podcast. I just dropped my son off at the gym. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I should be cooking dinner, but I got inspired. And this is why I love podcasting and why I left radio for it. Because at any moment I can come to you with a nugget that hopefully will change the both of our lives. So I'm sitting in the parking lot after dropping him off at the gym, messaging a friend, because I had a big announcement come out yesterday about how Get Your Brave On the podcast is now not just a podcast and a website anymore, Brave Babes. We just got bigger. We just became the Brave Podcast Network. And not only will you have my podcast to listen to, but multiple podcasts under the Brave Podcast umbrella that will inspire you to live a strong and courageous life. Just sent out the press release, and I was so thankful to so many of you who shared it and messaged me in excitement. And I got this awesome message from my friend Jonathan right as I was dropping off my son. It was so important that I parked in the parking lot and sat and responded to him. He said, I'm joyous, faith and patience. I said, thank you. It's a whole boatload, Peter, walking on water kind of faith right now. And he admitted to me, you know what, I'm in the same basket. I hired someone full time because I need help, and I'm not sure where the money will come from, but I know God will provide. So that was one of my first signs that the change I've made in my career and my momentum in life for Get Your Brave On is the right thing. Because sometimes when you are feeling stuck in life, that's God telling you it is time to do something different. And when you are feeling stuck, those are the moments to just try anything that will bring you clarity. So I was feeling so stuck at the end of 2022. I was miserable in my job. Radio had become not fun anymore. There's certain things that happened that just made it not creative, not enjoyable, and just overall miserable every single day. I was driving home just going, oh, I don't know if I could do this again. And that was God telling me, maybe I don't want you to do it again. Maybe I want you to trust me. So, brave babe, if you were in that moment right now when you are feeling stuck in life, what if you could lean into it and realize that that's a really good thing? I wish I could go back to my past self over the past 6 months and tell her, hey, this is a good feeling that you're desperate. Hey, this is a really good feeling that you're miserable, because I need you to go do something else. I just need you to trust me. That was the God part of it. So maybe if you're in one of those moments, just open up your eyes a little bit more. And instead of wallowing in all that is wrong, you decide to look for where you could make changes and make everything right again. So for the past month, that's what I've been doing. Making these massive changes in my career and my life to become an entrepreneur and help other brands like me and other personalities that I know and believe in come on this network and be able to bring you their message and maximize their impact. I figured out how to do it, and now I'm helping others do the same thing. So I guess that would be the first sign to look for when you are feeling stuck, is when you're feeling desperate. Lean into that and look for what God is doing now, and have that walking on water, Peter kind of faith. You know, if you're new to this whole faith thing, I get it. Or maybe you're like, Amanda, I don't know about this stuff. Well, just give me a chance here. So there's a story in the Bible about Jesus in a boat with a bunch of disciples, fishermen. And there's this huge storm. And Jesus is asleep. He's able to sleep through the storm. And the disciples are freaking out. His buddies are like, what in the heck? How could Jesus be sleeping? This is the Amanda paraphrase of the Bible story. And they wake him up. Like, hey, like there's a storm. We're going to go under. And instantly he calms the storm. Kind of gives him a hard time for like, why were you freaking out? I'm here. I'm like, come on. Jesus is never early. He's never late. He's always right on time. And as the story continues, he calmed the waters. And not only did he calm the storm, but then he was walking on the calm waters. Peter maybe is a lot like you. I think he's a lot like me. He's the doubter. He's like, really? Is this really possible? And Jesus says, come on, get on the boat and join me. All you got to do is have a little faith. A lot of people talk about the faith that it took Peter to walk on water with Jesus, because he did. I think it actually took more faith that moment that he had to swing his leg over the side of the boat, right? Like just that initial inertia, that decision that he had to make to say, okay, God, okay, Jesus, you're telling me to do this. It looks pretty freaky, but I'm going to try and swing my leg, both of them, over the side of the boat and start walking on water. And he did. The other part I love about that story is he starts to sink and Jesus doesn't get mad at him. Come on, you stop trusting me? He says, just keep your eyes on me. So if you're in one of those moments of feeling stuck in life, maybe you need to swing your legs over the side of the boat and start trusting in Jesus. That's what I'm doing right now. I am building a podcast network I'm so excited about. I've got so many people calling and opportunities. I can't wait to bring this to you. And I'm realizing as soon as I stopped wallowing and I decided to get out of the boat and trust Jesus, all of the support came in. And it is go time, my friends. And I'm actually not desperate anymore. I'm not miserable. Media became fun again to me because I'm not limited to talking 90 seconds at a time or promoting something that I really don't believe in. I'm here talking to you about my passion and you're responding. Can I just share kind of behind the curtain of the podcast world, you're kind of judged by how many people listen to your podcast. That's how successful you are. So since I left my day job, the number of listens to this podcast has tripled. I just needed to get out of the boat to grow this thing. Thank you for all of your downloads, because every single click and every single listen, the one that you're doing right now, has given me the faith. It's almost like, okay, I'm taking one more step on the water. Thank you so much for sharing this with your friends, because you are teaching me to have that Peter walk on water kind of faith. Because I believe that every time you take one of those steps of faith, that God honors it, and it shows in the numbers. Triple the listeners than I had before. I'm absolutely floored. So let me go to the second sign that showed me it was time to try something new. And you've probably have heard me mention a little bit about this. So when you're feeling stuck in life and everything is going wrong, instead of wallowing, we're talking about how to get through it by trying something new. So the second sign was my body was freaking out. At the beginning of the year, right as the new year, the beginning of the first week of January, my whole face broke out in hives. And it wasn't just a couple blotches. My entire face was red. There were welts on it. It was burning. I was so uncomfortable, and I lost all my confidence. I wasn't even looking in the mirror. I was walking by, avoiding it. That's a terrible feeling. And that was worse than the stinging and the itching. And I couldn't get it to go away. I went to a doctor. They told me to take a medicine, and that didn't work. And it kind of went away, and then it came back. And I'd go to the gym in the mornings, and I'd sweat it. It would burn like my face was on fire. I'd wear a hat everywhere I was going. I was like, this is not the start to this new business that I wanted. So it was a big sign that I needed to try something new. I was talking to a friend on the phone today. The second thing that happened today that showed me I'm doing the right thing. This is a woman who's got these cookies that she's thinking about having us endorse on the Get Your Brave On podcast. They're awesome, low carb, vegan, super healthy, that meet all your macros kind of cookies, and super yummy. We were talking, and I was telling her, oh, I'm on my way home from this acupuncture appointment. I never thought I would try that, but I was desperate. There's your sign. My face had been in hives for 2 going on 3 weeks. I was in so much pain. I just decided, whatever, I'll try something completely new. You know, in 3 sessions, all of my hives are absolutely gone now. So yet another moment of desperation. If you don't freak out and you lean into it and you try something new, that could give you the result that you wanted. And she said, isn't that interesting? Maybe your whole body was saying it's time to completely treat us differently. It's time for something new. It's time to believe in something new. I laughed. I said, you have no idea how profound that comment is to me right now. I want to work with you. You're going to get to hear more from her on a future podcast. But I realized she's right. When nothing is working in your life, so many of us just get stuck there. We get stuck in a dead-end job. We get stuck in a relationship that we're miserable at, maybe even stuck in a town you don't want to live in. And all you do is walk around and complain about it instead of actually doing something about it. But that's not what getting your brave on is about, is it? That's not what a brave babe does. A brave babe doesn't sit and wallow and complain. A brave babe chooses to do one brave thing a day, just 1% more brave every single day. And eventually you get out of that rut. You're not stuck anymore, and you're living a life that brings you joy and contentment. Can you really do it one thing at a time? Yep. The past 3 years, that's all I've been doing. Every single morning, I pull out my journal. I write down 10 things I'm grateful for. You've heard me talk about this. I write down I am statements, what I want out of life, as if it already exists, my why, my pathways, and I write down one brave thing a day to do. I call it moving the needle forward towards my goals. I've been doing one brave thing every day for 3 years to become an entrepreneur, so I never had to work for anyone else again. And it finally paid off. I just needed to get the little push out of the boat to do it. So when you're feeling stuck in life, what does that mean? It's time for something new. The first sign is that feeling of desperation. And the solution is having a little faith that there's something better. The second sign is everything around you is falling apart. And the solution to that is try everything new. Go a different way to work. Try a different workout routine. Do something different with your health. Change up what you're eating. I mean, what can it hurt if you're desperate and if you're lost? I mean, if you're miserable, then you got to try something new. Why keep doing the same thing over and over again? That doesn't make any sense. So the third sign that it's time to try something new when you're feeling stuck in life is the messages that your friends are saying and sending to you. How many times have you decided maybe you broke off a relationship and then all your friends were like, I've been telling you to do this. I told you it was no good. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, I didn't really even pay attention to you. Or I've been telling you you were too good for that job and you could do something else. I've been telling you you should start your own business. You're like, man, why didn't I listen earlier? Start opening up your ears. Take your earbuds out and stop being in your own head and listen to what other people are saying. Here's the prime example of how I got this. It's from my mom. You're never too old to listen to your mom. My mother is my most trusted confidant. She lives in Indiana. I live in California, but we talk at least 2 times a day. And we talk about Jesus a lot. Out of the blue yesterday, she copied this from something she read and pasted it in a text to me. And it was as I was writing the press release, nervously announcing to the world that I am starting my own Brave podcast network. She did not know I was doing this. Here it is. Dr. King proposed that human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. This seems to be another way to say that to conform to what is can result in abandoning one's creativity and uniqueness and responsibility. That's exactly what I've been doing over the past year at the situation I was in radio. She said, it is the maladjusted, those who resist adjusting to a bad system and use their imagination and creativity that change the world. It's called creative maladjustment. Martin Luther King Jr. calls for creative maladjustment in the face of segregation, discrimination, bigotry, and violence. She said that was from some video that she wrote. This is her copy and paste. She said, we're to find alternatives, or Martin Luther King said, to find alternatives and make them happen, who usher in a way of the future, the way of healing or salvation. She wrote, I thought you might find this excerpt from a daily meditation interesting, as it may apply to how you are boldly starting your podcast network. She's right. I don't at all compare this to civil rights. Let me make that clear. But I think it's okay to be inspired by it in your own personal life in small ways. And I was inspired by the fact that sometimes when you are maladjusted, as Dr. King said, when you are feeling stuck in life, that is a really good thing. That means the universe, that God is saying, hey, there's another way for you to be living life that can be very good for you. So stop conforming to the maladjustment that is around in you. Stop abandoning your creativity and your uniqueness because you have a responsibility to do something with it. Instead of being stuck in a dead-end job where you're miserable, instead of being stuck in a relationship that you know isn't good for you and is not giving you anything. It is your responsibility to your future self, your friends, your children, your family, all those around you, to abandon that and get creative and change the world and find an alternative and make it happen, as Dr. King said. I'm not saying that everything in life is bad, we have to leave it, but I'm saying it's a big blinking sign that not that you're wrong or you're messed up, but that would be like a big red stop sign, right? I think that feeling of maladjustment, that feeling of being stuck in life is a big blinking green go sign that says, let's go another way. It is time for you to move, brave babe. It is time when you're feeling stuck and maladjusted and creatively uninspired and you find yourself conforming to stuff that you don't really believe in. It is time to go, to get out of there and create something new. That is my extreme vision, even enhanced now because of it, for Get Your Brave On. Get Your Brave On started kind of as a calling for me when I was a single mom with 3 kids, 4, 2, and 8 weeks old, when my ex-husband abandoned us. I had no warning. And my daughter said to me, "Mommy, it's happy outside," when she saw sunshine. Meanwhile, I was curled up in a ball, still wearing maternity pants, nursing my newborn alone. And I realized she's right. I have to find a way, even though I'm scared, to get my brave on, like it's a better outfit than these maternity pants, and give her the best life possible. That's what I want to inspire you to do too. I know it's really hard to be stuck in a job. I've been there. I know it's really hard to lose a job. I've been there. I know that it's really hard to get divorced. I've been there. I know it's really hard to end a toxic relationship. I've been there. But you know what's harder? Staying miserable. You know what's more exciting and better for your future self? Getting your brave on. And you don't have to do some magical thing where all of a sudden you put a cape on and you decide to start flying. Just choose one brave thing a day to do. I have been moving the needle forward to start my own business for about 3 years. I made some decisions that were bad ones. I made some good. But just the fact that I did one brave thing a day made me brave enough to get me to this moment where I say, okay, I'm going to step out of this boat, God, and I'm going to have enough faith to believe in you that you will provide for me and my 3 children as I focus solely on creating the Brave Podcast Network to curate faith-based shows to help you live a strong and courageous life when it comes to your faith, when it comes to your finances, your family, even fitness and food. And I even have some podcasts full of fun for you too. Because that's what life is. It's like that line from the movie Parenthood. That old grandma is hearing a married couple, a husband and a wife, complain about how complicated life is. And she said, some people like that merry-go-round. Just goes round and round and you get the same thing every time. But I kind of like the roller coaster. It goes up and down and it's thrilling. What a ride. So what does feeling stuck in life mean? It's time to get your brave on and do something new. And I'm here to help. Thank you so much for being a brave babe and for listening to this podcast. Will you help me grow? I've got some big plans. I'd love for you to be a part of it. If this podcast meant something to you, if you know someone who could use it, would you copy the link and send it to them in a text? Hey, listen to this. Be a brave babe with me. Would you share it? Would you tell all your friends? Comment on Apple Podcasts. Let me know what you think about it. That helps more people find it. And reach out to me on socials at Amanda Carroll Show on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm still a show. I'll always be a show. I love you, Brave Babe. Thank you so much for your support of the Get Your Brave On podcast. I'd love to connect with you. Call my hotline anytime and let me know how this podcast is impacting your life and how you're silencing fear at 530-4AMANDA. Let's connect on socials and get more strategies to silence fear every day on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Amanda Carroll Show. And if you want to go deeper, join my Patreon. You can get daily motivations and prayers and meditations and live videos. Just go to getyourbraveon.info and sign up to be a member of the Get Your Brave On tribe. Join our Facebook group too. Just search Get Your Brave On. And I'd be honored if you would follow this podcast and subscribe and even leave a review. That helps more women just like you facing a plot twist find more strategies to silence fear. I'll shout you out in the next episode, or even send me an email to amanda@amandacarroll.org and tell me how God is using this podcast in your life. Like Kim did. She said, I just want to thank you for your podcast. I signed up in July and honestly always deleted your message. That's okay. Or sometimes just took a quick glance. But today was different. It was if God was drawing me to really take a look at it, and I did. After downloading the app to get a podcast, I went back and clicked on the prayer. As I stood in my bathroom brushing my teeth, the words just filled the room with a peacefulness. It came over me, and it was like a weight had been lifted. The stress of living with a few disabilities and being on long medical leave from work for over a year, and the stress of trying to go back to work with homeschooling 2 kids, I was keeping it all in. I just wanted to know how much you make a difference. I even shared your podcast with my mom, cousin, and brother, even though he's not a lady. He's going through a tough time and wanted him to hear the prayer. So bless you. Bless you. I am so thankful that God used this in your life. You're my why. I'm honored to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. Reach out anytime. All the links are in the show notes. And I love the idea of you listening to the episodes while you're brushing your teeth. I actually think it's perfect. Start your day with me. So just make sure you follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Get your brave on.